now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
What up, everybody? Good times. Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. Morning to all the boys and girls. Kim, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. And morning to Tony.
Morning.
And fabulous producer John Daly.
Morning.
Morning.
It is a really, really cool day. We have a lot to do. I will get right to it. I have one thing I want to get. And while I'm searching for it feverishly, really like this jam too, man, you know. Yeah. Someone sent me an email, Tony, just so you know, because you're like the technical guy.
Thanks, Tony.
That says the compression on KGO used to put all the sounds together. So like if one thing was hotter, one thing wasn't as hot, it all came together, right? So the deal is here, we don't have that compression. So he's saying, some drops are hot, some drops aren't. Some mic levels are hotter than others.
I know. Honestly,
there's nothing we can do about that, I don't
Mark,
think.
that bed's a bit loud. Just you might want to bring down your bed a bit.
How dare you say my
Just
bed
say
is
it.
loud? How
Just say
dare
it.
you?
Sorry.
His bed brings all the boys to the yard.
Your bed is loud. Mark, just so you know, your bed is loud. How
Thanks, Tony.
dare you, Tony?
I'm just trying to be a good board op.
There are some
Thanks, Tony.
differences. There are some differences when you don't have $1 million studio. So just point of order.
Tom says Tony has to ride the levels. I don't think he can, though. I don't think it's a level riding issue. So it's just one of those things. Actually, when you're listening on a device, you don't notice it at all. But it is true when you're listening on speakers or whatever, then you can hear the levels changing. But
you might hear a cat meowing.
Somebody said they heard a cat meowing. I don't know where. There's
That was
no
Archie.
cat.
That was Archie.
Oh, it was Archie. Good stuff.
So you were saying that you don't believe Mike Pence and his version of how things went down, and then Archie wanted to agree with you, so he came in kind of like a hype cat, like a hype man.
Yeah, I love that. I've often said I need a hype man. I need that. The yes you can woman. What happened to my yes you can woman? Oh, we gave it up for the. Oh, I see. We gave it up for. Hang on a second. She's got to be in there somewhere.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, she is.
There she is. Thank you.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need a hype cat like Archie.
Yes, you can.
Speaking of hype, we're going to get into the Trump announcement against the backdrop of, frankly, flirting with World War III.
Yeah, this is what America needs.
I'll review for you when we get into that how easy it is to back into a conflict like this. World War I was backed into. World War I was an accident. And it turned into an insane conflagration that took, millions of lives and
Mega ding.
Anyway, we'll get into that. We might have a WashPo reporter on from the Washington Post reporter soon, but that'll be probably either latter part of this hour or next hour. Talk about Ukraine. But against that backdrop, Trump made a big announcement, much anticipated. Much dreaded by the GOP, I think. I mean, all of his, supporters, high-profile supporters I'm talking about. And I'm talking about the money people. And we're going to get into this with Jim Avila, who's going to join us in a few minutes. The money people are fleeing Donald Trump right now. That's a huge, huge indicator of what's going on. But that said, and again, we'll talk to Avila in a bit about this. That said, they counted Donald Trump out the last time. In 2016. I mean, 2 last times ago, okay? So when they were really counting him out. I mean, I don't think they did count him out the last time. But in 2016, you'll recall, in that stage filled with everyone from Ben Carson to Ted Cruz. They viewed, and Jeb Bush at the very beginning of things, he was the odds-on favorite to get the nomination. And then Trump just ate him for breakfast. So now Trump does something strategically in his remarks, which I mean, his remarks were, they were teleprompter Trump remarks, but from what I could see, and I couldn't watch it, I was on the air in Los Angeles last night, so I couldn't really watch it. I watched bits and pieces of it, and I read a lot about it. But
you really missed out on the experience. It's not like he did.
There's never been anything like it.
Yeah, it's not like he did the greatest hits or anything.
There's never been anything like this.
Okay, so here's what I want to do before Avila comes on. Let's watch a little bit of the Trump remarks. We'll just needle drop them, okay? Because the thing went on for 65 minutes. So we'll needle drop the Trump speech, and we'll just remark on a couple of things. I'll give you some quick takes on it, and then Avila will come on and give us the realities. So the political realities I'm talking about.
Are you passing out barf bags so that, afterward, if we feel a little sick?
You know something, Kim? How you could insult a former president like that. I am offended. I may put you in timeout over that. I really,
How would you
sorry.
Yeah,
we could try ignoring it,
I'm
sir.
going to ignore it for now.
I'm sorry if I've offended the Trump community.
He has
Yes.
added a new word, so look out for glorious.
Oh, is that right? I'll tell you what we will do. I want a ding every time he says there's never been anything like this or anything like there's never been anything like this, okay? We're not going to watch long, but if he gets into it at all, we got to ding all the never been anything like this. All right,
But
Tony.
you can tell that this season has new writers.
Okay. Okay. Tony, here it is from the beginning. Trump's arrival in a room full of well-clad white people holding up their phones. Here we go. Let's take a look. And we got to hear it, Tony, too, please. Which we can't do right now. I'm not hearing anything. They're all packed in at Mar-a-Lago, filled with anticipation.
Gentlemen, please welcome the next President and First Lady of the United States of America, President
That's
Donald
the
J.
announcer they got?
Trump,
He's
accompanied
awful. Wait a
by
minute.
Mrs.
Stop this.
Melania.
Wait a minute. As someone who's done a lot of ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, I'm offended that I was not even auditioned for this. Play it again, Tony. That's the weakest announce I've heard, ever. For ladies and gentlemen, you want a big announce. Ladies and gentlemen.
The next President and First Lady of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
Oh,
accompanied
my
by
God.
Mrs. Melania Trump.
That's just awful.
But Mark,
you
this
might-
isn't a paying gig.
That is true. You're right. When you say that.
He probably went
that
to
does-
Fiverr.
It was a guy
By
from
the-
the front desk at Mar-a-Lago. That's what they could do, okay?
Can you get on the PA and make an announcement?
I mean, it's your big thing, man. You need, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. You need a big announce like that. I will say this. Had they offered it to me, if the money was right, I would take it, of course. Yeah. I mean, I'd put it into the podcast and I'd put it into the YouTube show if it makes you feel better, but I'd take it. All right, anyway, so now he gets to the podium. All right, here we go. Crowd chanting USA.
Very much, and on behalf of Melania, myself, and our entire family, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's a very special occasion at a very special place.
Yeah, that's not never been
You and
anything
all of
like
those
this.
watching
I'll only ding
are
never
the
been
heart
anything like
and
this.
soul of this incredible movement and the greatest country in the history of the world. It's very simple.
The hand movement there.
Yeah, they're back.
There's never been anything like it.
Whoa! Come on, everybody. That's strong.
Whoa! Yeah.
Right away, in the first 45 seconds, there's never been anything like it. Oh,
I like
my
how
God.
he's
There's never
warming
been
up-
anything like this.
Yeah.
He's warming up the hand movements too. He has to get
Yeah,
the
he's got
accordion
the hand
going.
movement. If you're listening and not watching, it's the center hands together to the outstretched hands from the elbows, where the elbows still
It's the
tucked in.
accordion. It's the accordion move.
Yes, the accordion move. All right. I'm sorry, Tony. Continue, please.
There's never been anything like it.
He adds the pause, though.
This
Never
great
been anything.
movement of ours Never been anything like it, and perhaps
Wow, he went for a second, never been anything like it.
Again. There's never been anything to compete with what.
Oh my God, he goes for a third, never been anything. This is in the first minute? Oh my God.
There's never been anything like
Ladies
this.
and
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and my fellow citizens, America's comeback starts right now.
Oh, that's a good line. That's a good line. So I got to give the devil his due on that. All right, go skip ahead, Tony. What does he say? What does he?
2 years
give me
ago,
some.
America-
Let's just. We don't have. We got Jim waiting.
Blah, blah,
And
blah,
we'll-
running
the
for
outcome in
president.
the Senate, we cannot lose hope, and we must all work very hard for a gentleman and a great person named Herschel Walker, a fabulous human being who loves our country and will
They're
be
looking at
a great
your social media.
United States Senator. Herschel Walker, get out and vote for Herschel, and he deserves it.
So you'll remember
He was
that Trump candidates, we've talked about this, generally did very poorly. And Walker is the very definition of a Trump candidate, plucked from Texas, put into Georgia, and is a Trump guy. I mean, he was plucked by Trump. So the notion that he would push Walker at this thing, it's flawed because he's clearly an embattled candidate and he's a mess, right? But that Trump is wrapped up with him to the point that he can't let go, that's in evidence because he even mentioned it here in his remarks. Tony, can we get toward later? I mean, and then we'll bring Jim on.
I am running because I believe the world has not yet seen the true glory of what.
Join the extra mile
This
with
is
more
the
reward.
that's the YouTube ad? Okay. Anyway, so Trump makes those remarks, and apparently people were looking at their watches, and this is based on published reports, and even looking to leave the room. It went on 65 minutes. People were looking to leave, but they were not permitted to leave the room. It was like the old days of Est, where they had the Werner Erhard thing. It's like one of those self-improvement things. They don't let you go to the bathroom. They don't let you leave the room. These are older boys and girls will know that reference. All right. A little bit more, and then Jim Avila, please.
America, and we're not going to let it fail. I am running because I believe the world has not yet seen the true glory of what this nation can be. We have not reached that pinnacle, believe it or not. In fact, we can go very far. We're going to have to go far. First, we have to get out of this ditch. And once we're out, you'll see things that nobody imagined for any country. It's called the United States of America, and it's an
Never been
incredible place.
anything like this before. His ad-libs are weak.
We are Americans,
he should stay on
and
the
we do
prompter.
not have to endure what has taken place in Washington, D.C. This is our country, our government, and the corridors of power, they're our corridors. They're not their corridors. These are our corridors.
I love it when he
And we
ad-libs.
are coming to take those corridors back.
So,
What?
and I'll be with you. So you guys head down there, and I'll be with you. I want to say one thing, and then I really do want to bring Jim on. Trump's superpower in 2016 was to be a rich guy, even though we know he wasn't really rich, but he repped wealth. And he was helped immensely by Mark Burnett, who created the profile through The Apprentice. But Trump's superpower is his ability to play the outsider. And I'm one of you, and I'm going to go to Washington, and we're going to grab power back. And so you're going to finally get something from this dysfunctional government. That was Trump's message underlying everything. You disenfranchised who feel this doesn't work for you, we, the outsiders, are going to get this back. And then, of course, he lied about the fact I'm not going to be, getting any kind of revenue from any of the blah, blah, blah. But his message was included here. The problem for Trump will be a lot of other stuff. The message he's got down, right? It's the same old message. He's playing the hits, as Kim was saying. But I think the problem for Trump will be way beyond that. He's lost the GOP. He's lost the media. But, and then I'm going to bring Jim on, I would say he was viewed as a joke initially, as I mentioned. Yeah. He was not taken seriously. He didn't have the media the first time until he started to get some momentum. So Before I bring Jim on, anybody ever else have some thoughts, and then I'll bring on Avila.
It's why it's dangerous to think of him as a joke, even though you want to. But look at what happened last time. And to his words about America has not yet reached its pinnacle, does that mean he failed in his first round? And if he failed in his first round to, quote, make America great again, then why do you want to give him a, time too?
Honestly, that kind of logic just isn't applied when thinking about supporting Trump. Trump supporters find a way. They reverse engineer their
Well, just
support.
like he opened by saying he was going to be the great unifier, right? And then within like a minute or two, he said they're going to attack and go after the Democrats that have destroyed the country.
Wait a minute. That's
Right.
not unifying.
That was all within like, I think 2 or 3 minutes.
He is the former senior ABC News correspondent, White House correspondent for so many years, and he's so gracious to spend time with him. It's really a luxury that few shows have to talk to this guy. Jim Avila, everybody. What's up, Jim Avila? Oh, he's muted. You can unmute and join the party. Yeah.
I apologize. Good morning.
That's hello. So what are you're outdoors or something? We're hearing a little background, but
Yeah, I'm on my patio because, as you might also hear in the background, there is a fire alarm going off in my apartment building. So it's less noisy out here, believe it or not, than indoors. Started right
For a
at 10
second, I
o'clock,
thought
by
it
the
was
way.
birds.
yeah, it did. It sounded birds, and
You're out
then
in nature today, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my patio. So
All right. So
Apologize
how long
for
do
that.
we expect that fire alarm to continue? Just asking for a friend.
4 more years.
I don't know.
Well, we have an option here, and I turn it over to you, Tony and John, because you're the audio and producer part of this. Do we have Jim on now with that sound? I think it's kind of tough. Or do we rejoin him in 15 minutes, maybe, where the sound may be done? What do you think?
Well, we'll see. We don't know if WAPO's coming through at 10:30, but maybe we will reschedule. I think that's probably best.
Reschedule Jim or reschedule WAPO?
We can reschedule WAPO.
Okay. So, Jim, why don't we take 15 and let's get this fire alarm? Otherwise, it's going to be hard to hear you through all of it. You know what I mean,
Okay,
pal?
whatever you say. It's fine. I mean, I can't
All
It's
right.
a lovely setting, though. I'm really
It
enjoying
really
the
is. It
patio.
looks like one of Kim's living rooms. So that
It's also very patriotic. Do you see that flag?
Yes,
right
look at the American
there's a
flag.
flag
Jim
there.
Avila, the
Yeah.
ultimate patriot.
Just as a side note, and Mark knows this, I live in a building owned by Rick Caruso, who's running for mayor. So, of course, he's got the flag out there.
Well, it looks great. It just sounds weird today. So take 15, make yourself a
Okay,
cup of
sorry,
coffee,
but-
and rejoin us right after the bottom of the hour. Okay, good stuff. Jim
Okay.
Avila, everybody. Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's, I just think it would have been a little tough to.
So you should have gone with birds. Wow.
Yeah.
Listen to all those birds. Glorious.
And they're right. Yeah. I had a couple of other things I wanted to mention in relation to Trump. I'll just show you how my plan was now with Avila delayed a little bit. It'll be broken up. But my plan was to do some Trump, and then we're done with Trump, and we'll get on to some other stuff today. I've got Ukraine, as I mentioned. I really want to get to that.
That's
And
the
then
way-
we have a lot of other stuff. We have
That's
That's
the way
Rich.
it really should have happened with America the first time, Do some
Then we're done
Trump,
with
and then
Trump.
we're done
Yeah.
with Trump.
Right.
Why are we not done with Trump?
Well, I'll tell you who is done with Trump is Rupert Murdoch. Take a look at this. Tony, do you have this is the New York Post, and the front page of the New York Post doesn't even mention him by name. I mean, it's clearly a message to him. So they do the children of war, but look at the bottom. Florida man makes announcement, page
So
26. I mean, that's,
We've never seen anything like that before.
we've never seen anything like it.
There's never been anything like
Right,
this.
That's right. So there it is. It's at the very bottom. Murdoch reportedly telling Trump his political career is over, threatens to back Trump's Democratic opponent. Rupert Murdoch, quote, made it clear to Donald Trump his vast media empire will not support Trump's expected run for re-election. This is written hours before he announced it. Murdoch reportedly told Trump that the disappointing performance of Republicans, particularly candidates of the Trumpian variety, put an end to his political career. Quote, "We have been clear with Donald. There have been conversations between them during which Rupert made it clear to Donald that we cannot back another run for the White House," a senior News Corp source said. Murdoch even went as far to say he would back a Democrat against Trump. So the media ecosphere that supported Trump or gave Trump attention, like you'd look at an MSNBC or CNN, you don't think of them as having supported Trump in 2016, but actually they were, because by showing the Trump rallies, you let the lies, the misrepresentations, you let his message get out there over and over and over again. And in fact, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton during the primaries. And so this is huge. If you lose that right-wing media, it's a big loss.
Well, remember CNN kept the camera on his podium, his empty podium, and they had Bernie Sanders with a packed crowd, right? Packed auditorium in the bottom corner without any sound, and then they tape delayed Hillary.
Yes, thank you. Perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Throughout the primaries.
Yeah.
Do we think that he's running because of legal trouble? I've heard the argument that if he's a candidate, that somehow changes the way he's dealt with legally. And I wonder if that's why, because Melania can't want this again. The family can't want this again.
Well,
So-
if Trump says that's the case, then it is. That's how it works.
He won't be dealt any kind of different legal hand as a result of declaring he's a candidate. I think he hopes it will change the legal arithmetic, but it's not going to. They did wait.
He could just be the martyr.
I mean, he's got he's got an attorney general in Georgia. He's got state cases with taxes, also with involvement in the elections in Georgia, and then he has federal cases as well that we're waiting on from Garland. But at minimum, you've got the Mar-a-Lago documents. I don't know that will turn into anything, but you have these very, I would suggest, damaging messages that are out there as a real legal battle is being waged on multiple fronts. Julie says nobody likes him. Nobody
likes her.
Yeah. You can smash it like a boss in the meantime while we're hanging out.
Smash it with your iron rod.
People are, I should tell you this, John and Kim and Tony. People are divided on smash it like an iron rod, with your iron rod.
Are
there
they?
Are some?
How can you not like it?
There are a bunch of people who don't like
Smash it with your iron rod.
But I'll remind you that, and this is the like button, which you should hit the thumbs up for. I mean, you can just smash it. And that's in YouTube jargon. You just smash it. Smash. Yeah.
Smash.
Yeah.
Smash.
Right.
Smash. Absolutely smash.
So even if you're watching in replay, hit that like button, which helps us. So anyway, it's a little like, why don't you just text it? When we started with that, because we wanted something to indicate you could text the station, we got a lot of people who said, I don't like that. Why don't you just text it? Why do you run that all the time?
Why don't you just text it?
How do you not like that one?
And so the minute they said that, Albert was producing at the time, he said, that means you have to run the hell out of it. People don't, which is sort of the way we've always done it. The more
Whereas
there's
I would have
complaint,
said, you know what? They're probably right.
well, I would say that we should let the audience decide. And I think you let the audience decide. And we were discussing this the other day, like when the audience says they don't like something, whether we let them. I like the audience and those of you who've come to the show, who give us the patrons of the show, who are part of our Patreon community, who help support this show, those who do super chats and super stickers, the ways that you support this show financially, because that's what we need. We only have one advertiser, Steve Moskowitz. He's great, but I'm just hopeful we can keep this show going. We should let you have a say maybe in this. So I'm wondering, Patty Uplinger says, woke up yesterday at 4 a.m. and smashed it with an iron rod, went over and over and over in my mind.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
So I suppose we could put it on timeout. I don't want to delete it completely. We could put it on timeout if there were enough people who wanted it on timeout. But I'd say that those people would have to make a contribution to the show, though. Wouldn't you? When you, I don't mean to be. You know what I'm saying? Am I wrong, Kim and John, Tony?
Are you saying that you're going to allow someone to buy it off the show?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah?
That's exactly
okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You can buy it off the show. If
I'm
there
getting
are
like
enough,
a Joe Box vibe off.
yeah, there is. I can be bought.
Joe Box and Little Anthony.
I can be bought. I'm not Fat Andy.
Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy.
But I'm Joe Boxy. That's
Joe
all
Box
I'm saying.
And Little Anthony.
More iron rod is better. More iron rod. Love your show. Hate the iron rod. It comes through so much louder than you. Yeah, it does. Well, I don't like anything on the show louder than me, as you might imagine. I mean,
you know who I am.
Exactly, right. Anyway, smash the like button, and we'll take a meeting on that. I want that as my phone ring, especially when my manager calls me. Smash it with your iron rod. So perfect, from Karen. Yeah. So there's some who hate it, some who love it. I find the woman's voice annoying, says Jay.
Well, yeah, that's Michelle Bachmann, you know.
That's right, Michelle Bachmann.
It's
Everything
kind of
about Michelle Bachmann is annoying. So
it's like we get a little bit of televangelist theater along with hitting the like button every time. It's
Yes.
it's a thing of beauty.
So we put it to the side, and if you want to try to put it in timeout, throw us a super sticker, throw us a super chat, and if we get enough people who buy it off of the show.
Like enough
we'll
people to fill up
timeout.
a Trump rally?
Yeah, we do. Again, I think it's...
I don't think you should apologize for how you feel.
No, don't apologize. Feel good about how you feel, and then attach it to a contribution to the show, and then we'll we could buy it off timeout. Similarly, if we get enough support for it, it ices its position. It's here. It's more solid than ever. Chris Christie is applauded at a GOP governor meeting for what? For bashing Trump. So you can see how the GOP is going after Trump in a savage way. And we'll talk to Avila about this, but I see erosion of support would be a polite way to put it, and no institutional support on the part of the GOP. Now and we'll game these scenarios out with Jim, but here's how it could play out. You could have Trump and DeSantis, we'll call him, shorthand for anybody else who might enter the race, but it's really, DeSantis is clearly the front runner.
You mean DeSanctimonious. You got to get ready for that.
DeSanctimonious, that's right. Well, those two will savage each other, and they'll do it on stage, and they'll do it in all the ways that Trump is used to street fighting people. And we'll see if Ron DeSanctimonious can survive that. In any case, it's not good for a party that needs unification probably to prevail. So we'll talk to Jim Avila about that. But somebody asked, so you're going to hold us hostage? Did you see that?
Yeah.
You're going to hold, where's that? Where is that comment? You can comment.
Why don't you just text it?
You're going to hold us hostage for money? Thomas, I don't think it's holding you hostage. I'm just saying if they want to get rid of a drop, that's not holding you hostage.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
You want to get rid of that, I will. But similarly, if you want that as a cornerstone, you've got it. You can get, I will save up to bribe and boycott all drops. Wow. Oh, my God. Anonymous. How dare you? Well, I don't know about that. I mean, that's pretty.
Why are you yelling?
That's pretty brutal. All drops. But do save up. We'll see. It's possible that I could take a meeting on that anyway. Let's take a break for Kim's news. Then Avila will join us, right? John, that'll be the plan. And then,
well, unless his birds are still squawking.
Yeah, unless there's an alarm over there. And then we'll just touch off on Trump. I also want to get into Ukraine. We have a WashPo reporter possibly joining, but either way, we will talk about it. I mean, you saw it was an accident. Assuming the reports we're getting are now accurate. You see how yesterday at this time, you were getting reports that were supposedly accurate that it was a Russian missile that went into Poland. What would have happened had there been action on that? And what would happen if it was legitimately a Russian missile that made it erringly into Poland? In other words, it wasn't the intent of the Russians, but it was a Russian mistake. What happens? You see how we're really on a razor's edge in Ukraine. I'd love to talk more about Ukraine, and we will. So much to do. You can join us, smash it with your iron rod. And then join us in the chat room. Avila next as we continue. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Good morning on the Mark Thompson Show. I'm Kim McAllister. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Republican senators are holding leadership elections today. Florida Senator Rick Scott announcing a challenge to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell for the top Republican job in the chamber. That coming after an expected red wave didn't materialize and Republicans did not take control of the Senate. Texas researchers say their new discovery could be a potential game changer for those who struggle with fentanyl addiction. University of Houston scientists believe they've developed a vaccine that keeps the drug from entering the brain and getting users high, but researchers say that vaccine can't stop an accidental fentanyl overdose. Actor Kevin Spacey is set to be charged with 7 more sexual offense counts in the UK. That according to the UK's Crown Prosecution Service. The new charges include indecent assault, sexual assault, and causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent. State of California taking action to protect holiday shoppers like never before. Governor Gavin Newsom says everyone deserves to feel safe, especially as they head out to the stores for a busy season. CHP officers will be increasing patrols at malls and centers across the state. They say they'll be working with local police to help make arrests and recover stolen merchandise. The governor saying it's a double-down effort to stop crime this year in organized retail theft. California also making it easier to avoid cryptocurrency scams. One section of a new website just launched in the state. Attorney General Rob Bonta says it seems like everyone these days is investing in cryptocurrency based on the promise of fast and easy money. He warns don't fall for a fantasy, saying there's no guarantee of large returns or any at all. The new website also includes tips about purchasing and trading online currency. The news is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, you can catch Steve at 888 Tax Deal or online at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson. The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
I stand corrected. I misspoke. My words upset so many people. My bad. I'm sorry.
Y'all can all go to hell, and I'm going back to Texas.
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe Box, and Little Anthony.
What he's got going here is a situation. There's a reason that this place is fun.
Someone did this to spoil our Christmas. I have never heard of something like that.
There is nothing in our history that quite compares to this.
Nobody has ever put something like this together that I've ever seen.
We've never seen anything like it before.
I have a busy week.
I think I'm the most honest human being, perhaps, that God ever created.
God bless America. The end.
Girl, you just ruined it.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Do I hit it long? Is Trump strong? Huh?
Who is having that conversation?
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir.
The science is ridiculous.
It's fantastic.
this is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Isn't anybody been a weed?
It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
Seriously, what the
What up, everybody? Oh, my God. Come on. Are you kidding me? Shout out to my beautiful bride of 18 years today, Melinda. Jeff, with $25. Are you kidding me? Big shout out.
shout out.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Best wishes. Wow. Melinda, you've obviously chosen wisely, as has Jeff. Congratulations. Eric Kennedy, $10. I like it. Maybe a little less repetition on the...
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eric, for the contribution and your thoughts on the iron rod controversy, or as they say, controversy, or however they say it over there. Jorge Rivera, $10. Sorry, but I like it, and I just smashed it. Not one, not two, but 3 iron rods.
Thank you very much.
Wow. I'll give you a Will Smith. Thank you very much, Jorge. Thank you for the $10, sir. $5 from Jim. Here's $5 if you won't play the smash or drop for the next 5 minutes.
Thank you very much.
All right, I won't for 5 minutes. And I will indulge Jim. Tiffany MLA, $4.99, buying the iron rod to keep it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Very cool. William Geip with a super sticker for $3.
Thank you so much.
Yes, big shout out from Dan Ashley. Thank you so much. Neil Yamura, $1.99. The GOP has voted Donald off the island, he says. Yeah,
thank you so much.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? Chris B for $1.99. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Chris B says that $2 is to cancel the iron rod. I listen at work, for God's sake. For God's sakes. For God's sake. We got to bring back for God's sakes. Or forget. Brian Reich, do an auction and go with the most money raised on either side of iron rod. That might be where we go with it. But either way, it's a classic now. Please use it sparingly, though, to not offend the others, says Yvonne.
Spare the rod.
Yes, spare the rod. All right, but do smash it, everybody. Smash it. Smash it.
Oh, my gosh.
You got to
smash. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Absolutely smash.
Smash with a like for the show and all the ways you support us. If you want to see all the ways, you can be a Patreon subscriber. You can be a PayPal contributor. It's themarkthompsonshow.com. And there are links to everything there. There are links to the merch site there if you want. You just have to click on where it says merch, and it'll take you there. It's themarkthompsonshow.com. I'll get more to the merch when we get. We're running out of the KGO and Exile t-shirts, but those of you who have them, please send us pics of you with them, or with you can put the shirt wherever you want, with your dog, cat, whatever, and we will run those pics on the air. Now, we had problems bringing them in, or there it is, getmarkmerch.com is the merch site. A guy who has our merch has participated in our chat, distinguished journalist for many, this guy's won the top awards in journalism. I'm not talking about Emmys, okay? Emmys are for television. Great. Emmy, whatever. The stuff that's related to journalism, that's what Jim Avila has. And
he's joining us.
And he's joining us now. I know. It's inexplicable, but he is. He's here now. Jim Avila, welcome.
Welcome. So I moved downstairs to the restaurant.
Good. So it'll be the occasional passing ambulance, but apart from that, we'll be fine.
Right.
All right. So let's talk about.
There's nothing quiet.
It's Los Angeles. So talk to me, Jim, from Los Angeles about what you take from the Trump announcement, and more to the point, maybe, GOP reaction, Murdoch reaction, everything that's happened since he's announced.
Well, first of all, I think that it was more of the same. He was low energy, however. I think he'd been chastened by the Republican Party, who told him to back off on. He hardly mentioned 2020. He really didn't go there, and I think that was by design. He brought up Herschel Walker, as you played early on, because he doesn't want to be blamed for Herschel Walker losing. So he made sure he promoted Herschel Walker at the beginning. So I think he has listened, and that's why you saw a little bit of a toned down message from Mr. Trump. It is interesting that the Murdoch paper, New York Post, had it down at the bottom, Florida man. That was just hilarious. Florida man announces running for election. But I did watch, and look, I watched the entire thing of Trump. It was painful. It gave me high blood pressure. It brought me right back to where I was, when he was in office, and that really bothered me. I mean, it just has an effect on you that you just makes you cringe. And then I watched some Fox afterwards, of CNN and Fox, and Hannity was right back at it. Hannity was right back at praising him, right back in his corner. There wasn't any pause on Hannity, and Laura Ingraham came on next, and she was in the same ballpark. So while we've been promised that Fox was going to back off, I didn't see much of it at all on day up. We'll see as it goes. I think they are going to champion Ron DeSantis, but they're not out of Trump's corner totally.
Well, he would be the front runner still. The political gravitational force of Trump is still the most substantial gravitational force there.
Yeah, I think he will win the primary and be the candidate. And here's why. He has 30% of the 25 to 30% of the Republican vote. If it's a multi-field area, if it's multi candidates in the field, that 25 to 30% will win. And until it gets to be one-on-one, maybe toward the end, then there may be a chance that DeSantis or somebody else who emerges might have a chance of beating him. But until it's one-on-one, he will win. I think he will not win the presidency. I don't think that he has a chance for it. He's running for three reasons. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No. This is very important. Tell me why he's running.
So in my opinion, he's running for three reasons. He's not running because he wants to help the American people in any way. It's totally ego, number one. He misses being in power. He misses being the center of attention. Mar-a-Lago is a nice place, but it's not the White House. And I think he misses all those perks, having his hamburger whenever he wants. Second, I think that he believes that it will protect him, insulate him from prosecution, that it will make it awkward for the Department of Justice to prosecute, even though it's still possible and it still may happen. There may be I believe that they'll probably name a special prosecutor because Garland is Garland is the kind of guy who is very careful, and he doesn't want the appearance of any kind of conflict, so he will do that. But I think they'll still prosecute. But Trump believes it'll be more difficult, more awkward. He'll be able to present himself as a martyr. That's reason number two. And reason number three is what we all know. He's in it for the money. It's a grift opportunity, and he wants to continue that grift for himself and for his family. So I think those are the three reasons. I think that's why he's out to do it. He wants to be out early because he realizes that if he gets out there early, that he might become the presumptive candidate, and that will help him get to the presidency. The downside for Democrats, in my opinion, Mark, is that, and look, I think Joe Biden has done a great job. His policies are really good. The legislation he's passed has been really good. I think that it's time for younger blood. Myself, I think it would be great to have younger candidates, different candidates run. And I think that Trump running will encourage Joe Biden to run again because he believes that he's the only one who can beat Donald Trump. And there's some evidence to that. So
yeah, I was going to say they kind of road tested that theory and it worked. And by the way, It wasn't as though nobody came out and voted for Trump. I mean, you needed a huge showing by Biden to actually win that election. And my next question might be, in taking the temperature as you look at the electorate now, and I understand things will change, is it conceivable that he could get that kind of push, or is Trump, I'm talking about in a general election, likely to not see the kind of numbers he saw when he was running against Biden the last time?
Well, as you know, Mark, the elections are not won by the bases, and his base is all he has. Sorry about the truck, of course. They're next to me.
That's okay. We don't hear it, so don't worry about it.
Okay. There it goes. The bases don't win elections, the independents do. And his chance of winning independents was demonstrated in the midterms, practically nil. He has, in my opinion, no chance of being president again. If the Republicans don't wake up to that they will lose the next election, just as they lost the midterms. They lost the 2018 election. They lost the 2020 election. They lost the popular vote in 2016. Anytime Trump's name is attached to an election, they have lost the popular vote. There is no way, in my opinion, that he wins or even comes close to winning in 2024, in my opinion.
Well, the Republican Party, as configured now, doesn't reflect the popular vote in any way, and that's why they'll continue to lose the popular vote. But as you know, in this horribly flawed system, that is immaterial. I mean, it's all about the Electoral College. But that said, here's a question from Karen, or a note. Jim, there isn't anyone that the Dems have. Only Biden. Michelle Obama, she won't get within 100 miles of the White House. Who do they have, Jim?
Well, I think one of the things the midterms did prove, and look, now that I'm doing commentary, okay, and no longer reporting, when I was reporting, people didn't know how I felt, and I made that sure. Now I can say how I feel. I'm a progressive, okay? If my candidate would be Elizabeth Warren. That's not going to happen, and shouldn't happen, because then you have the extremes. What the midterms proved is that we need independence, and independents like moderates. And even if the policies of the Democrats are popular, there needs to be some semblance of compromise, some semblance of we'll listen to the right a little bit, or listen to the right of center. So, in my opinion, Amy Klobuchar is a great candidate. I think that she is strong in the Midwest. I love Gavin Newsom, but I don't know that Gavin Newsom, he is too handsome for his own good, and I think that's a problem.
Meaning he just reads too slick because of that?
Yes.
I see, to California, okay.
To California, too slick. And I think that's an issue for Gavin Newsom. I think he's great on the issues, and he's really good at campaigning. And his things, the things he's done recently by advertising in Texas and in Florida to come to California, where you can have real freedom and free choice, free to choose your own reproductive methods. I've been great. Is he the guy? I would hope so. I don't think so. Let's see how he does in the debates, if he does run. But Klobuchar, somebody of that sort of middle. There's a guy named Sherrod Brown that probably is not as familiar to your listeners. He's a former Ohio senator. He is very good and a moderate, and would help pick up the Midwest in those swing states. So I think those people, there are plenty of candidates, and the Democrats need to go through the process. They don't eat their young. Okay, it's not going to be like the Republicans who are going to split because of Trump. Trump's going to destroy that party. Now, I'm not going to be holding any tag days for them because they're doing that, but I really think that's going to be a problem for them. That this is going to happen. Yes, Kim. Sorry.
It gives me solace that you were so correct about the last election, that when you say he won't be elected again, I kind of think, all right, if Jim Avila's that, I got some hope over here. I'm wondering, though, if, given the state of where we are with the January 6th committee, if you think that because Trump just said he was going to run again, does that kickstart some type of timetable for them to move faster to file any charges before, he could possibly win and be president again and then claim all these executive privileges one more time?
Well, there's two issues there. I had hoped that Garland would have filed charges Monday before he announced on Tuesday. Now I do believe that he will be charged, and I do believe he'll be charged before the end of the year, before the campaign really starts. I think that's really there's a good chance of that, or at least there'll be a special prosecutor named before the end of the year. Now, the other issue is the January 6th committee. They have to put out their report before the end of the year, because at the end of the year, of course, the Republicans take over the House and that committee goes away, and Jim Jordan is in charge of that committee. So I believe that the Democrats will, in fact, put out their final report which will in fact make them make charges easier for Merrick Garland. They of course don't charge anything. The January 6th committee has no power to charge. They just have this report. They're going to come out and put out all the evidence and have Liz Cheney come out and rail against him, which has been valuable. It was valuable in the midterms. All that negative stuff that came out in the January 6th committee, besides abortion, the second biggest issue was election denying. So I think those guys really helped. The January 6th committee really helped.
I wanted to read this comment to you from Katie Lynch. What about Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island? He's been doing a lot of MSNBC in the last few months, she says. I mean, he's terrific, of course, but
yeah, he's very good. I think there's a lot to shake out. It all depends on what Joe Biden's going to do. And if Joe Biden tells us in the middle of the year, by summer of next year, that gives the Democrats a year and a half to coalesce around a candidate. I also like Kamala Harris. I know a lot of people don't, but I think that, she's been put in an unfortunate position. When you're vice president, you can't go out there and be, on front and center. Your role is to be in the background.
She didn't do well as a candidate, though, even in the primaries, Jim.
Well, she did badly because she was so harsh on Joe Biden. I think that's been cured.
Okay.
In my opinion, she did badly because, she did that whole thing where that little girl is me, and tried to paint Joe Biden as a racist. And everybody knows that Joe Biden, he's old fashioned, but he's not a racist. And I think that really hurt her. I think that, while it left some anger in the party and anger among Biden's people, not Biden himself, obviously, he picked her as a vice president. But I think she would do better, and I want to see how she does in the debates. I haven't made a decision, do I think, other than Amy Klobuchar being a front runner in my mind.
Yeah, I think the Klobuchar as a centrist probably makes the most sense in terms of moving the meter. I think Harris has a lot of negatives. I know we disagree on that.
What are they, Mark? What are the negatives?
I think that people respond with their reptilian brain. It's screwed up. But in the same way they responded to Bush in a positive way, I'm talking about Bush the younger, like, seems like the kind of guy I could have a beer with. It
may seem superficial, but that laughter, that nervous giggle she does, turns a lot of people off.
It's awful. Don't get me wrong. Hey, look, Katie Porter, I'd love to see her as president. I think that there's certain aspects of Katie Porter that probably just don't play over time in the electorate. I guess this is effed up that we're saying this, but I'm just trying to say that Kamala Harris has, and by the way, it's not that she is a person of color or any of that, or even a woman. I think that I love those things about her, but I feel as though there are these superficial aspects to her that people have recoiled from. And I think it's played out in how she did in the primaries. Maybe it's, as you say, only with the negatives that came from that debate stage, but I think it's more than that.
Well, I'd like to see a woman, and I think we've screwed it up enough, and I think it's time that a woman would be given the opportunity. And we see how a woman governs in this country. Angela Merkel did great in Germany, and I think it's been proven that women, we have more women now in the Senate and in the House than we ever have, and they've done a great job. I really think that it would be great to have a woman. Amy Klobuchar is at the top of the list for me. Kamala Harris is on that list for me. If it was me, AOC would be great. But I know that won't happen yet. That may happen down the line in a few years. So that's my first choice. My second, I also like Pete Buttigieg, but I'm worried. I worry that I think America should choose a woman before they go to the gay. The gay candidate myself.
I always we're talking to Jim Avila, who the award-winning journalist from ABC News, and he was right, like the lone voice in the night about the fact that the polls were off and that Democrats would actually do well in this midterm. So his takes really have always been clean, but you can really see how clean. I play this game occasionally where I go, what is less likely to be, who is less likely, what a trait attached to a candidate when it comes to being elected president. So like you can go, obviously old white guy is not a problem, right? You skate in. Older woman, I don't think it's as big an issue as it once was. A person of color. Clearly, Obama's a person of color, made it in, black dude, was president. I mean, then you get to what you're talking about, which is gay man. I think there's a lot of different communities that would push back on that for president, even though I think he's amazing, right? He's a ninja when it comes to debate, when it comes to pushing back on these ridiculous talking points that you'll find on Fox News and whatnot. Pete Buttigieg is amazing. I just don't know if we're there yet. Sadly, I mean, it really makes me sad because I think, there's so many terrific gay candidates. And then you get gay woman. But I'll tell you the thing, Jim, that is more unelectable than any of these traits. It's atheist. You will never have an atheist president in the United States of America. Do you agree with me on that?
Well, that sounds reasonable. I don't think anybody's going to come out publicly and say that they're against God or, don't believe in God. It's hard when the national motto is in God we trust. So, it's when we pledge allegiance to the flag in God's name, it's a little tough to go that route.
Yeah. This is a word from the Lord, and He's not happy.
There's a lot of, and that's a big. There are a lot of these constituencies. That's a big group, church to church, synagogue to synagogue. Yeah. Everybody's got their God, man.
There's places in America where you can't buy alcohol on Sunday, which is very foreign to us here in California. But there's large swaths of America where it's all about religion,
especially on this show.
Yeah.
This is the word from the Lord.
It's why I stock up on the alcohol on Saturdays, just in case.
Is that right? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to.
It really bothers me that it as it does you, and maybe I shouldn't. We shouldn't even talk about it. But the homophobia when it comes to national politics is really unfair and not good. And, I feel a little guilty even raising it, to tell you the truth, because Buttigieg is such a good candidate, other than his last name, which is difficult to pronounce. He's just about perfect. And he's young and he's got vigor. He's got all those John F. Kennedy type of things. But I don't know that the Midwest is going to be ready, or the South for sure. And Democrats did win in the South, in Georgia and places like that. So are they going to accept two men holding hands, raising it in the air in campaign rallies over and over and over? I have my doubts, and that's unfortunate, and I feel bad about it, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. I just think it's this country has to evolve past this crap, But
right now,
anyway.
the most important thing is to win, and that Joe Biden proved that in 2018. He wasn't my favorite candidate, but in the end, he was the guy who could win. And whether I don't know that Elizabeth Warren would have won, who would have been my candidate, and I would have. I didn't want to go down swinging. I would rather have won, which Joe Biden did.
Yeah, and he won in all the ways that you've identified here in this conversation with appeal to independence in a much stronger Trump world than you'll find now. Trump is damaged. Trump has some stink on him. Trump has lost all of those constituencies, the media, the Murdochs, et cetera, that we've talked about already in this last hour. So we'll see.
We should have a separate conversation about DeSantis at some point. But I think that's a whole other thing to go into. But we'll do that another time, I'm sure.
Friday, Jim will be back with Michael Shore. We'll kind of sum up this week in politics. Thank you so much, Jim Avila. Really love having you in. Jim Avila, everybody.
Sorry about all the noise.
Yeah, no, it sounded good.
Why are you yelling?
The Mark Thompson Show.
John Watson says, problem with Pete is not his sexual orientation, but it's his lack of experience. He was mayor of a city that was smaller than my hometown. What was the experience that Donald Trump had? That he was president of Mar-a-Lago? And I just think that at some point you look to, I mean, of course you're right on some level. We just don't elect people who are the best administrators necessarily.
Well, at the time, you could have used the same argument against Obama as a junior senator.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and you can use it against any senator. I mean, I'll tell you what I like about mayors and governors, just in general. Then I want to pause for Kim's news. We'll talk about Ukraine next hour a bit as well. I've got That's Rich. I got a bunch of other stuff that's got nothing to do with politics or grim world events, but we'll get to all of that. By the way, just while I'm mentioning it, smash the like button like a boss and help us in the YouTube algorithms, and certainly make contributions if you're up to it in the super chat or in super sticker. But I've lost my thought, John. Damn it.
Can I just say this is a great entry from because I just want to hang out on Jim Avila's patio, drinking wine, eating tortilla chips, and talking politics with that guy like all afternoon one day. I think that's what we should auction off. An afternoon with Avila's on the patio.
Or you could go downstairs to the restaurant.
Yes,
margaritas
I love that.
And chips, you know.
He lives the baller life. I think you're absolutely right. Come on, Avila. Help us raise some money. Yeah, people will. That's right. You can salute that flag, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then go get drunk.
Prove that you're an American and not a communist.
Can you imagine? I mean, what a great conversation. The more margaritas, the louder it'll get, the more politically heated. That's true. Yeah, that's
like
my
Quattro años más.
That's right. There's
my dream afternoon. I want it.
We still haven't run the maybe we can run a little bit next hour. Jimmy Kimmel did the same joke, in essence, about the Mike Pence conversation that we did in the morning after that Pence interview on ABC. It's only like a minute long. I'll play it for you next. Then we'll talk a little bit about Ukraine as well. Much to do still. Smash it like a boss, the like button, and thanks for being here. Live on YouTube, Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. 7 police recruits are in critical condition after being hit by a car in the Los Angeles area. CHP says it happened as the recruits were out for a run in Whittier. The suspect has been taken into custody. This is not Ukraine's fault. That is what NATO's Secretary General is saying after a missile ended up hitting part of Poland. 2 civilians died, but Jens Stoltenberg said Russia bears ultimate responsibility due to its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Credit card balances seeing their biggest jump in more than 2 decades. A new report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows credit card debt grew to $930 billion in the third quarter as more Americans rely on them to get by. Balances are also up more than 15% from last year. The race for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination off to an early start, as we've been discussing. Former President Trump announcing his bid last night from Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Today, a group supporting Governor Ron DeSantis will air an ad promoting his candidacy, even though DeSantis hasn't officially announced that he's running yet for president. Meanwhile, a retiring Pennsylvania senator says former President Trump shouldn't be allowed to run for the White House again. Republican Pat Toomey says Trump should be disqualified for his actions on January 6th of last year and for denying the outcome of the 2020 election. Elon Musk is demanding Twitter employees commit to long hours or leave. The social media platform's new CEO sent a company-wide email that said if employees don't consent to intense working conditions, they could receive 3 months of severance. It's all part of his vision for Twitter 2.0, which got off to a bit of a rocky start when his Blue subscription service led to a slew of impersonators putting up false information. The Department of Transportation is penalizing Frontier Airlines for trickery for significant schedule problems during the pandemic. The agency announcing Frontier is set to pay $222 million in refunds to customers affected by flight cancellations, delays, and other problems due to the pandemic. The airline was also fined $2.2 million. The Department of Transportation announcing penalties against 5 foreign carriers with refunds totaling nearly $600 million. They're accused of changing the rules so you would buy your ticket under one policy, then they changed the rules so you wouldn't be able to get a refund. More races being called across California. In Los Angeles County, Robert Luna will be the next sheriff. He was ahead by 20% after last week's midterm election, leaving Alex Villanueva to concede yesterday. Meantime, in the city's mayoral race, Karen Bass has widened her lead by more than 36,000 votes. As for the closely watched House races, only 7 still considered too close to call. And comedian Jay Leno recovering first of several surgeries after being burned by one of his classic cars. Dr. Peter Grossman from the Grossman Burn Center in L.A. says Leno's doing well. The comedian is said to be passing out cookies to kids in the hospital when his car caught fire over the weekend. Can't you just see that? You know, it's kind.
That's right. Don't sweat the wounds, kids. Don't sweat the bandages. Uncle Jay has some cookies for you.
He's got some cookies. So, have a cookie and have a laugh. When the car caught fire over the weekend, Leno suffered second-degree burns and third-degree burns to his face, his chest, and his hands. He may have to have some skin grafts. He'll have another procedure later this week, but he is expected to fully recover. And lastly, Mariah Carey may be the queen of pop, but she will not be the queen of Christmas. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, denying Carey's application to trademark Queen of Christmas title to use on her products. Why? Well, holiday songwriter Elizabeth Chan, who already calls herself the Queen of Christmas, successfully blocked Carey's motion. It is a battle for the Queen of Christmas title, and Mariah Carey has fallen flat.
Wow.
Good day, sir.
Wow.
Don't be surprised if that woman disappears.
Yeah.
Seriously, what the?
There's no one to block me now.
Yeah. Who's the Queen of Christmas now? Exactly.
The news sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. So if you need help with your taxes, you can call Steve. It's really easy, 888-TAX-STEAL, or online at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson. The Mark Thompson Show.
My wife wants some vegetables for crudité.
I was a basketball referee.
Feels great, baby.
Use Mark Thompson.
It's unbelievably offensive.
What he's got going here is a situation.
I was fortunate. Everyone I worked with made me better at my job.
You are a cover-up artist, and you are a liar.
What up, everybody? It is great to have everyone in the mix today. We are live on YouTube. It's a wild platform. It lets you interact with us, and we've built a community in a way that we never had at the old radio station. By the way, the old radio station prominently displayed on our KGO and Exile t-shirts, limited run. You can get them at getmarkmerch.com, and the money that we raise from that goes into the show and the expenses for keeping the show on the air. Getmarkmerch.com. You can see all the different merch items. There's the t-shirt, black and white. There's also the hat and the why don't you just text it mug.
Why don't you just text
you can have it right on your mug. The front says Mark Thompson Show. The back says, why don't you just text it? We have all kinds of lines on there. You can kind of knock around on the website and see if there's anything that you like. GetMarkMerch.com. Where are my weed smokers at? Is on one of the...
Where are my weed smokers at?
Yeah, that's on one of the mugs. And we have weed smokers in green, which seems only fitting. I like the, I don't know, I think the pot holder is pretty strong. And it's a very good pot holder. So I encourage you to check out the pot holder if you're looking for a stocking
Isn't
stuff.
anybody but a weed?
No, it's not that kind of pot. It's the hot pots that you lift and carry. And then you can see in the bottom row is the Mark's Advanced Hydration System. You call it a water bottle. We call it Mark Advanced Hydration System, stainless steel water bottle. Enjoy drinking from the hydration system that the stars drink from. That's right. Jim Avila has a hydration system bottle, for example. Yeah, award-winning journalists drink.
Does he have water in it?
I'm guessing most of the time it's water, but maybe, it can be a vessel for anything else, if that's what you're implying. And I like that implication. Right. Jim Avila, yes, says Yvonne. We can do a Zoom politics and BYO beverage. I love that idea. That might be something that we do, Yvonne. Thank you for that.
I like it.
I'm in, Kim. Anytime. A live chat room, says Avila. Wow.
Nice. I like it.
How about a shout out to Kevin Hobbs, who is fast becoming my main man to the point that I'm not going to do it, but I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm close. Kevin Hobbs, another $20. Big shout out from Dan Ashley.
Big shout out.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. You rock. You really are a contributor and regular supporter every day. Thank you so much. Brian Vio, also a regular supporter. What up, Brian, for $9.99?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Elwin, another regular. Super sticker for $1.99.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, El. Still the coolest name. You can make a contribution live while we're on the air. Super chat, super sticker. Also make a contribution when you're watching in replay. There's a heart with a $sign. You can hit that, and you can help us that way. And if you want to become an ongoing sponsor through Patreon, we love you for doing that. We post all the names of the Patreon patrons at the end of every show. And those who leave a little bit more and have made a more substantial contribution monthly, their names are a little bit bigger because we're so grateful for you extending yourself a little bit more for the show. But everybody gets recognized. And in the months to come, and there will be months to come, we have a lot of events and special stuff planned, and Patreon will be a centerpiece of some of that. So all of that is still to come. So I'll keep you posted on it all. Thank you for the super stickers. Thank you for the super chats. And thank you for the likes. You do need to hit that like button if you could to kind of keep us relevant in the YouTube algorithm. So, yeah, smash the like. Smash it.
Smash. Smash.
Now.
Smash. Absolutely smash.
On the... I'll quickly, before we leave Trump world, I'll run a little bit of Jimmy Kimmel from last night. Tony, you've got that? The Kimmel stuff. They went for the exact same moment that we identified one moment.
Thanks, Tony.
And that whole conversation with Pence. And we talked about how it was completely BS and how essentially Pence had just created this kind of superhero image, strong image in this moment. And Kimmel caught the same moment, and here it was last night on the show, on Jimmy Kimmel's show last night. In 3, 2,
He sat for an hour-long interview with David Muir of ABC News last night, during which...
Oh.
Thanks, Tony.
Thinking. No?
Well.
During
it was
Walmart's
great.
Black Friday deals
Oh,
for
I
days,
see. It's a roll-in on YouTube. Yeah, we have a roll-in on YouTube. So that's a spot. When it's over, we'll run it for you. So usually they run about 15 seconds, 30 seconds. But I always like when we're a little ahead of the late-night guys on whatever. But
Well,
I mean,
don't know
in
if
that
we're ahead.
We're
Did I tell you I met one of Jimmy Kimmel's writers?
No.
Here in a bar in San Francisco, and I told him that they consistently have the best jokes, like
that
from
is
beginning to end.
So true.
And he said,
agree.
yeah, that's all they do is they churn out jokes, and they have really great writers.
It's terrific. They're really great. I mean, I think Kimmel is the guy, and that's the reason he's doing the Academy Awards. You know, it's a really tough target. He has that ability to be both irreverent, but also charming. I think he does it without and he's got a real everyman quality because he is everyman. You know, I know him and will occasionally send him an email, and so I don't. Is
it a positive letter?
I send him a positive letter. It's very funny, but
I've received a lot of positive letters.
Always, he sends me an email back almost immediately, and he's way past where he has to do that, you know. And I would even understand if it took a couple of days or if he didn't get back to me at all. But I love Jimmy, and so here he is last night talking about Pence. In 3, 2, 1, and well, this is the magic.
YouTube's not being nice today.
We're not ahead of Jimmy Kimmel.
No. Anyway, it was great.
Unless he listened to the Mark Thompson show.
Well, he also seems to be neutral in a lot of ways, even though he's openly liberal, which I think that's remarkable that he can.
Yeah, he makes fun of Biden's age and stuff there, and anyway, it was great.
It was great. I love it.
You want to recreate it? You could recreate it, Mark.
It was that moment where we talk about where Pence is talking. He said, "I put my finger in his chest and I said, we're not going anywhere." Like everybody's Batman when they're telling the story, My Secret Service agent came over to me and he said, "We need to get you out of here, sir." And I said, "We're not going anywhere. We have a job to do for the American people, mister." Yeah, sure. I'm sure
and
that
there was
happened.
a flash of lightning.
Fabulous producer, John Daly.
So in Ukraine, and this is the problem with the proxy war, my friends. In Ukraine, there was big news yesterday about a missile drifting, misfiring, ending up in Poland. And it was originally reported that a Russian missile near the Ukrainian border, but in Poland, killed 2 people. It's the first time that a NATO country, right, has been directly affected by the war. This is what has gone on 9-10 months now, the Ukrainian war. Poland's president said there's no evidence to suggest the missile strike was an intentional attack or even that it was launched by Russia. And he was quick to say that yesterday. There were many indications, that's a quote, that the missile was fired as part of Ukraine's air defenses and unfortunately fell on Polish territory. I'll say that again. It was a missile fired by Ukraine's air defenses, right? So he's saying that, and this he addressed the Polish parliament, that it's possible that the incident was the result of provocation from the Russian side. So it's not as though they excuse the Russians in this entire thing, but that the missile was likely launched by the Ukrainians. So NATO's Secretary General confirming that the initial analysis suggested the incident was, quote, likely caused by a Ukrainian air defense missile fired to defend Ukrainian territory. Joe Biden, the president, said that the missile was unlikely to have been fired from Russia due to its trajectory. Biden's defense secretary, Lloyd Austin, said the U.S. had not seen anything that contradicts Poland's preliminary assessment that the missile was the result of Ukrainian air defense. So I want to take a step back. Before all of these people weighed in, I'm talking about high-profile people like Biden, like Lloyd Austin, like the Polish president. The initial word from Zelensky was, we've been hit. Now they've been hit by Russian missiles. And there were all these theories. We even had them here on the chat. I just wasn't doing a lot on it yesterday. We're kind of waiting to see how it all settled out. And that these are North Korean missiles that are acquired from North Korea. They're not very accurate. And as a result, they may have drifted into Poland, fired by Russia, though. I will get to a bigger question in a second. But first I would ask, what do you do in a situation where you have Zelensky who wants our support? He already has tremendous support. They just okayed a new package for Ukraine. It's close to $40 billion. So this is clearly America's proxy war, but then you have information that's coming out that's not accurate. It's a very tough position that the U.S. is in. I mean, now you have a NATO country involved, and you had, again, before this was all clear, you had the Ukrainian president declaring, this is it. We need you to get involved. America needs to get involved. I mean, go back and look. These were a series of statements on the part of the Ukrainian president that really were calling for NATO alliance involvement in a more direct way. So clearly that would be a mistake if indeed it is, as all these officials have said, a Ukrainian missile that went into Poland. It's almost like a false flag type situation. I don't know that it's that. I'm just saying that, you feel like this is at the moment it happened, right?
That's what's being said this morning by the Pentagon. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin saying they're still gathering information, but it looks like the missile that killed 2 people in Poland was likely a Ukrainian defense missile. So, it looks like the missile was launched by Ukraine as it defended itself from Russia's latest bombardment. That's the official word.
John Watson says in the chat, and you can jump on the chat in YouTube. You can just put your comment in, and it goes right into our chat. The fog of war. Yeah, John is right. I mean, the information that you get in wartime, what do they say? The first casualty of war is accurate information. But what I will, when we come back, I want to ask you a bigger question. Let's change the arithmetic on the Ukraine missile just a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the question becomes far more serious. And it was already deadly serious. But I'd suggest that with just a slight adjustment to the question and to the event, the U.S. faces, and NATO allies, for that matter, face a much more serious issue. So I'll get to that in a moment. First, I want to talk to my guy, my main man. He is
The Mark Thompson Show.
Steve Moskowitz joining us. And Steve, welcome to the mix. It's been one of those days. We have unpacked a lot of issues, and we're excited that you are here. I talk about you all the time. It's funny, year-end issues, too, when it comes to taxes, always make me think of you. And there are so many opportunities to both take advantage of government programs, but also protect yourself from too much tax exposure. And I know Moskowitz LLP does all of that.
Absolutely. And two things we'll talk about today. One is exactly what you said. Here it is. We're the middle of November. 6 weeks and the year's over. And one of the things we want to do is avoid what I call March Madness. And I'm not talking about college basketball, when people are mad because they say, hey, why am I paying so much in taxes? These big corporations don't. What's the secret? What's the secret handshake? Let me in. I'll tell you what it is. It's tax planning. And a lot, but not all of tax planning needs to be done by December 31st, but some doesn't. One of the things I'm real big on is the pensions, the retirement accounts. There's 4 big advantages here. One, you pay less taxes. Most people say, sign me up. But the second one is the income itself is not taxable while it's in the plan. And 3, cash flow. You have up until the filing of the return plus extension to fund it. So that means that even if you don't have the money to put in now, because a lot of tax planning requires money, you have to write a check by December 31st, but not with the pensions. Depending on what type of business you are, you can have until either September 15th or October 15th of 23 to put the money in and still deduct it from 22.
Wow.
And it's protected by the government. You know, you're in business, people like to sue business people. But under federal laws, it's exempt. And I hate to mention his name, but look at O.J. Simpson. He's had a multi-million-dollar judgment against him for years, not lost one penny because of this law. So that's great for tax planning. And the other,
He wasn't a client of yours, though, Steve. Let's be clear about that.
O.J. was not my client. And the bottom line is, on the other hand, I'm so excited because just this morning, I was watching so much money go from the government to our clients on this ERC. It's really exciting. And this is where the government can give you up to $26,000 for every employee that you have. So if you have 10 employees, that could be up to over $250,000 and so on. 2 ways to qualify. One way is a certain drop in gross revenue. That's the easy way. But a lot of CPAs, a lot of firms are stopping there and say, well, if your gross revenue didn't drop, no ERC for you. There's another way. The law specifically says either or. It's a facts and circumstances. It says, we'll take the time, we'll take the effort. And some clients, I give homework. Some clients say, well, you know, you haven't told me enough and you don't know the answers. That's okay. I'll give you a second appointment. You'll get the information for me. And then they get all these money. But on the other hand, watch out for the scammers, and the IRS is investigating it. Those are the ones that say everybody qualify. And the problem is those companies are just popped up to do ERC, and they're going to disappear when the IRS has a few questions to ask. We're a tax law firm. We've been practicing tax law for over 30 years. We're here for you. We want to get you every penny to which you're legally entitled. And on the other hand, save you all kinds of taxes. Other thing too, we have so much to offer you. I'm just sitting back waiting for you to contact us.
Yeah, and I'm seeing all these ways that you can help, and it seems as though it's an easy call to make. And I'd also say it's one of those situations in which you don't know what you don't know. So right, Steve? I mean, there's just so much to the tax code.
You can see how excited I get about taxes, but you know me, Mark. And the bottom line is I could take up your whole show and 2 hours say, wait, Mark, I got more to say. There's so much available. It's like a medical doctor knows all kinds of medicines. You don't need to know all the medicines. You only need to know the medicine is going to help you.
And I would also say, last thing on Steve, and then I'll tell you how you can reach him. I mean, if you are listening from anywhere, Steve can help you. You may say, well, I'm not in the Bay Area. That certainly doesn't matter. I'm not in California. That doesn't matter either. all across the country, across the world. Steve Moskowitz is your call. 888-TAX-DEAL, 888-TAXDEAL, 888-TAX-DEAL. You can also reach him online. Moskowitz LLP, you spell Moskowitz, Moskowitz, LLP is LLP. Yes, put it together. You've got Moskowitz LLP.com. It's right there.
Why are you yelling?
Well, because I just am enthusiastic. That's all.
Tax is exciting. How could you
Yes, it's exciting, and I'm getting excited too.
Why are you yelling?
All right. Steve, we love you. Talk to you next hour.
Love you too.
We'll talk to you
Thanks,
in a bit. All right. Thank you, my friend. Steve Moskowitz, everybody. Yeah.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Who's Mark Thompson?
The Mark Thompson Show.
I wanted to just now change that arithmetic on that scenario in Ukraine and show you how easily we could end up in a conflict. So let's say that instead of it being Ukrainian missiles that went into Poland by mistake, and as I say, I mean, that we can parse that, break it down and go, well, was that Ukraine trying to get us more involved? Was that a false flag operation, in other words? We're already hip deep money-wise and from the standpoint of supplying arms and aid. But you'd have actual commitment of American, well, I'd leave it to you. We'd have a conversation. I mean, you might have NATO troops involved. Anyway, but let's take a step back and now change the question. What if it was a Russian missile? What if it was not this one? I get it. This one has been, asked and answered, Your Honor, right? But what if the next one came from Russia and it was claimed by Russia as an accidental firing? It was somebody with a trigger finger. This is the point. They're real people. Putin's not making every decision about what happens on the ground, right? He's not making decisions about what things are fired. It's 18 and 19-year-old Russian fighters that are doing things often. I ask you then, what would be the posture of the NATO alliance and the U.S.? This time, it is a Russian missile, let's say, in this hypothetical. I think it very possible, which is why I asked the question. And I think it puts us in an even more awkward position than we're already in. We're already in a proxy war, right? This is the danger of these proxy wars. They can explode in ways that you just can't imagine might be pulled back. I just am curious what's being said. There's this. Jack, as bad as Russia is, same with China, Saudi Arabia, Iran, etc., it doesn't excuse global media being one-sided and invoking World War III, NATO Article 5, if it was Russia versus Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like the system. That's not the bug. That's the way it works. And when in reference to Saudis and Chinese, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's as bad with, you're talking about when you say as bad as Russia is, same with China, Saudi Arabia, Iran, etc. Of course, you're right. It's a question of alliances, and it's a question of, the one thing that Russia did was they did invade Ukraine. Okay, so that's the reason they're on the map with this conversation.
No, it's a police operation to get Nazis.
That's right. I forgot.
If anybody did want to put boots on the ground and get involved in this war, anybody was looking for a reason, what you're talking about, the scenario which you present, offers that reason. I mean, it's that simple.
Well, there are hawkish minds that are invested in this situation too. Like, not everybody's trying to, not steal second here. I mean, there are, we're already involved in this war from a proxy standpoint. And as you know, there are American military arms manufacturers who are all too happy to produce these arms to the point that, now they're being exported to fill in the blank. They don't care. They're in the arms business. Send them wherever you want. We make them over here at the factory, and then you pay them for us. And then after that, we don't care where they go. The G20 leaders all condemn the war, of course, right? And they demand Russia's complete and unconditional withdrawal from its neighbor's territory. The reference to war is a rejection of Russia's claim that it's involved in a special military operation, John. I just think that this is a real playing with fire situation. And the incident of yesterday points that up in such a sharp way. You see how the U.S. could become even more involved in this conflict. So, anyway, that's that. Your thoughts are welcome. Please, you can text them into the
just text it?
Chat line. And by the way, if you're watching this in replay, you can also leave comments.
Oh,
what's that? What did you say?
I was just apologizing to the replay.
If you're watching in replay, you can. Well, the other thing is, when you're watching in replay, you can skip ahead or go back or whatever. When we come back, can I give you a little palate cleanser? Something that's not Ukraine, not Trump, not politics. I've got news out of Taylor Swift land. What else do we have the next half hour, John? Oh, I've news about your cat. You know, we're cat people. So I'll give you a little something on
News
that. But
you can use.
It's news cat people can use. And I think everyone with dogs, cats, or whatever will also find it interesting. And news out of the world of Ellen DeGeneres. That's right. A little Ellen DeGeneres news. I know you want it.
Her.
I know you want it.
What?
I'm just saying. All right. All of that still to come after Kim's news. Thanks for being here. We're live. Smash it like a boss. The like button. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Legislation to protect so-called dreamers being pushed by Democrats before the end of the year. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer urged Republicans to work with Democrats to preserve the Obama-era program known as DACA, which shields illegal immigrants who arrived in the U.S. as minors from deportation. The program is in limbo due to a long-running legal battle. House lawmakers are calling on FTX executives to testify before Congress now. House Financial Services Committee will hold a rare bipartisan hearing next month on the crypto exchange's collapse. FTX recently filed for bankruptcy, and it's facing questions over reports that billions in customer assets were moved to the former CEO Bankman-Fried's trading company, Alameda Research. A San Mateo assisted living facility here in Northern California facing a third wrongful death suit. The son of a 79-year-old man who fell in June wants to know how it happened when he was assured Gary Podesta Sr. would be constantly monitored. He moved his dad there 2 months after he says he had already wandered out of the building. 2 other residents died after him in August when they were mistakenly served cleaning fluid instead of fruit juice. Those families are suing for elder abuse as well, accusing Atria Park of skimping off on staff to save money. More than 120 fires in Oakland in 1 year, and that is just on Caltrans property. Those findings are in a new report given to the Oakland City Finance and Management Committee. It shows 62 fires along Interstate 580 since October of last year. Crews also responded to 818 homeless encampment fires, with at least 63 on Caltrans property. Officials call it extremely concerning, saying it speaks to the housing and the homelessness crisis. There's a follow-up now to the 1983 holiday classic A Christmas Story, set to be released tomorrow. A Christmas Story Christmas will premiere on HBO Max early in the morning. Peter Billingsley reprising his role as an adult Ralphie in the 1970s. Again, that one coming out tomorrow. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. From 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. So, if you need help with your taxes, Steve is easy to reach at 888-TAX-DEAL or online, moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson.
What's a guilty pleasure you have?
Who's Mark Thompson?
Feels great.
When they raided Mar-a-Lago, God didn't like that.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us in the last little bit today. It's we've got some show left. And Janet R., I especially want to thank you. Thanks, Mark, Kim, John, and Tony, for making my mornings at work so much better. And look at what Janet R. is wearing, though, Kim. Look at what she's wearing.
Oh, she's got an KGO and Exiles shirt.
That's right. She sure
Yeah.
do. She sure
Janet,
do.
you're awesome.
Big shout out.
Big shout out.
And might I say, at $50, it's close to, I'm not going to, but it's close.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I'm close to crying.
What will make you cry, Mark? I just want to know.
Well, I'll say 50 is flirting. $81. I did get a
you tear?
A donation last was it yesterday?
There was
and
a
that
tear.
got me even closer to.
I'm not gonna cry.
Don't bring me back to it, but thank you. That's so cool. Eileen Horton, thank you. Big shout out.
Thank you so much.
Yes, 1999. Love it. With a super sticker. Thank you. Pamela Kirby. Come on, Pamela.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pamela, for $4.99. You've made our morning with your super sticker. Free scones for the dead leaves us $4.99.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much. Sylvia Banks for $1.99. I'll give you a Will Smith. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And you're just the coolest. Everybody who has stepped up and left us stuff today, it really does help us. Honestly, we're in this weird position where we need your help to keep the lights on. I mean, I'm challenged. Pardon me while I sniffle for a second. I am challenged to
That was
keep
you
the
feeling a little bit choked up, right?
I
Allergies
was.
will make him cry.
I am, yes. I'm close to crying.
Yeah.
We've had that kind of support. So
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
It starts with the sniffles and then it goes to the full-on ugly cry. You know.
I need a moment. I need a moment. Did you see a Lindsey Graham fake cry as he was talking about Herschel Walker the other night? I think I sent Tony that a couple of days ago. It was hilarious. He's like fake choking up as he was talking about how important Herschel Walker is to the Republican Party.
Thanks, Tony.
So we just don't have time for it, but it was pretty funny. Speaking of crying, we do need. I am going to have maybe Craig can help us. We need to get That's Rich thing going again, John, because I don't have an open or close for That's Rich anymore because there's music on it. And the music is copyright.
But you could do a Bernie Sanders.
Oh, yeah. The top 1/10 of 1%.
That was kind of like Dracula Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I don't really do a Bernie Sanders per se. So I'm kind of in a tough position. But
they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Well, I don't know. They did it to me.
What we got here is a situation.
Yeah, we got here. So I do want to do That's Rich. But before I do, I want to tell you that Taylor Swift, who is wealthy, she deserves it, I think. She puts the butts in the seats, right? And the amazing thing about Taylor Swift is she did this all when she would, she was in her late teens and 20s as she created this empire. And, with all the stuff that you're doing, you're living your life out loud, her romances, her heartbreaks, it's all coming out in music, but it's pretty tough, I think, to live your life out loud. And your connection to fans, it reminds me sort of what's going on now with our show. You have people who are forming the community. Of course, her community is immense. And she spent time with her fans. You remember that thing she did where she literally had them over to her apartment? Am I remembering that wrong? I'm pretty sure she did.
Was that a fever dream you had?
That might have been. Maybe I just imagined that. But anyway, Taylor Swift fans and Ticketmaster not happy. Pre-sales for a handful of dates on Taylor Swift's new tour have begun. But infuriated fans reported that the ticketing website Ticketmaster appeared to crash or freeze during their attempts to purchase tickets. Customers went on Twitter. They complained about Ticketmaster not loading or even allowing them to access tickets, despite getting a pre-sale code for verified fans. This strikes me as a problem we're never going to have. I don't think the demand is ever going to crash our site. Maybe. I got a code and I'm logged in to correct the account, to the correct account rather, but it's saying I'm not verified. What do I do? A fan wrote on Twitter. Others echoed that complaint. Some called on Ticketmaster to fix this. Ticketmaster said there was no problem. Fans who have received a code to the Taylor Swift ticket pre-sale should log in, access the queue through the link, rather than entering through the Ticketmaster homepage, the company said. That will ensure an optimal shopping experience. So there's that. Controversy in Taylor Swift land, the Swifties. Meanwhile, the ultra-rich, as we segue into the world of the wealthy, they are fueling the sales of luxury brands. This is despite inflation and recession fears. Experts say luxury brands are often insulated in economic slowdowns because most of their sales come from the super wealthy who don't feel the pinch. So LVMH, Ferrari, and Capri are among the luxury companies reporting strong sales. Other companies, including Walmart and Gap, have slashed financial forecasts, so they are feeling the pinch. Prices for food, gas, travel, all have gone up over the past year, but the rich appear to be shrugging it off and still fueling sales at luxury companies, where sneakers can go for $1,200 and sports cars can easily top $300,000. What's the most you've spent for a pair of sneakers, guys?
I go pretty cheap and budget. So I'd say maybe $60 once. Generally, I keep it at $50.
Wow, very impressive. How about you, Kim?
I was
for your kids, or there's a demand
for a pair of Steph Curry Warriors basketball shoes, and I bought them, and they were $80. That was
that's not too bad.
That was about 3 years ago. They were blue and gold, and I mean, I could see why they were desired. So okay, and they have been used for both kids, so I think that's a win.
Well, you know, former producer on this show, Albert, he was into shoes in such a big way.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah, he was he collected
Imelda Marcos
shoes.
of the shoe.
Yes, he was the Imelda Marcos of KGO. He had more shoes. In fact, when he did the March Madness, which we do alongside the NCAA, we do this March Madness every March, of course. In fact, I have a March Madness. Here it is. I have a March Madness hat, which we'll get back on the site when when March Madness rolls back around. I sent him shoes. I sent him 2 pairs of what I thought were really cool shoes, and they were not cheap. And he was like, meh.
Oh, no. Too
was
good
great.
for those shoes. No, thank you.
I really felt like I missed. You know what I mean? Where you just feel like, God, I really want to make this guy happy, and I just can't do it. So
nope.
yeah. Anyway, the luxury brands are doing well in the world of the wealthy. A billionaire has sold the former Ellen DeGeneres house. The former Ellen DeGeneres house, my friends. Ellen, of her talk show, of Netflix specials, of her stand-up. The former Ellen DeGeneres home has sold for how much? I ask you in the chat room. How much did Ellen's former home go for? It was, hang on a second, I want to tell you about it, and then you can tell me. She put the house on the market 2 years ago. No takers at its first price. Then the price went down. It was a mid-century house acquired by DeGeneres in 2015. Extensively renovated during the time she owned it. Behind gates down a long driveway. 5,000 square feet of living space. An entirely windowless facade now made of teak slats.
John is asking for the location.
I am looking for the location. You're right to ask. The location is Beverly Hills, California.
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. What can you tell us about the scene?
What can you tell us about the scene?
The scene is that Ellen has sold the house, Larry. 5,286 square feet. 4 bedrooms, 5.5 baths. Beverly Hills, California. What are the guesses?
She ever like forgets about one of her houses? Like, oh yeah, we have a house in Beverly Hills.
Fabulous producer John Daly.
What do you, can you put a couple of guesses up there so people can see them? What are the guesses running? 20 million, is that what Yvonne says? 22 million says Wes. 22 million again, $8.10. Jim, you know, we can't play this game if we're not going to take it seriously. 20 million at WH King. We can't have nice things with you kids. 25 million says Eileen Horton. $10 million says Debbie. The property that DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi sold in 2018 for $35 million back on the market, resold for $23.3 million, everybody. If you guess close to $23.3 million, you are a winner. That's right. I guess, you know, the market has gone down.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they were asking $38 million. No takers. Asking price went down to $28.9. So,
and they're home flippers too. Buy them.
I'm seeing
they totally
Wall
renovate. So they probably dumped a lot of money in there too.
I'm seeing a Wall Street Journal article from 2021 said they were asking for $47 million.
Oh, maybe even more than is posted here. It was sold for $35 million in 2018, and now it's been resold. But I mean, they do like the high-end places. I told you, but you know, I used to know Ellen. She's a Bay Area person, did really well. She won the San Francisco comedy competition, which she's talked about. And so I bump into her and Portia de Rossi.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm kind of a big
So I
deal.
bump into her and Portia de Rossi at the famous people party. And, you know, or the people who used to be famous party, in my case. All right, small F on famous. All right, so I was working the party. But the point is that Portia and Ellen are there. And we start talking. And I asked her, what are you up to? And I like to throw out a casual question like that. Seems kind of like, what are you up to, Ellen? She said, we just sold a house. We bought a house and we sold it in Santa Barbara. So that's pretty cool. I said, wow, that you know, how long you have it? She said, we renovated it and we sold it after a year. I said, wow, that's quick. She said, well, we kind of like doing that stuff. That's what she said. So she, as Kim says, she's a house flipper. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know it at the time, but that's really her deal. This is a gorgeous home. They redid it with that teak facade and everything. It's stunning. I'm sure everything that Ellen does to these homes, everything is amazing, right? But wow, when you're flipping houses at that level, when you know things are 25 million, 30 million, you really do need people buying who aren't affected by overall inflation or, you know, getting pinched at all by the economy.
I wouldn't want that. I mean, I wouldn't want that lifestyle of someone who had all that money, but I wouldn't want the lifestyle that she lives. And I've heard her wife complain about it too, where let's flip it. They buy a house, move into it, flip it. You know, they live there for less than 2 years before they're on to the next place. I'm kind of a buy a house, live in it forever kind of girl.
Your profile pics beg to differ.
That constant moving
changing
around. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like to move around at all.
No.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Speaker.
Oh, thank you. I have the speaker turned on, so it might create a echo. Thank you, Tony.
There's the craziest debate in the chat room.
What's that?
I said in the news that San Mateo was in Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
Kim, how are you?
Right.
Yeah.
It's right. I mean, would ever you have thought someone would dispute this? No. And apparently someone says, no, it's not. That Northern California doesn't start until north of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Wrong.
No.
What?
Wow.
So I just
Who is having that conversation?
I do need to dispute that, and I would like to offer proof, if I might.
Oh, look at you. You bring Exhibit A.
I do
love
bring
it.
Exhibit A to the court.
There's never been
may it
anything
please-
like this.
I tell you, this is impressive.
May it please the court that right near Big Sur is where Northern California begins. Some people might call it Central Coasty in a way, but Central Coast kind of straddles Northern and Southern California. So right near Monterey County, to the north, is the green part would be Northern California. The blue part, Southern California. So there you have it.
Well, and a lot of people use San Luis Obispo as kind of like, Central California, and like that's the dividing line. Bakersfield is definitely Southern California. Modesto is definitely Northern California, and nobody wants Fresno.
Nobody wants Fresno. It's in the green in this map, but yeah. So there you go.
I want them. If they support this show, I want them. But you're right.
Case
Politically,
closed.
it's a different scene. Yeah, case closed.
Good day, sir.
Nice job. I think you pretty much, you told them, Kim.
Thank
I've
you.
never heard that Northern California starts north of the Golden Gate Bridge. I've never heard that.
No, that's silly. But we love you anyway.
That's fake news is what I call that. I don't know if you guys have heard that term fake news before, but yeah. But impressive. And I would say impressive takedown, Kim. Yeah, it was impressive. Yeah,
and I have
takedown.
8 units of upper division credit studying California history and university.
Oh, look at
Fabulous
you.
producer.
Wow. Excuse me. Man. Well, I think whoever is the person who made that point originally is
I misspoke.
Yes, they may want to give us some kind of I stand corrected.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. So
I mean,
we're
I'm
waiting
sorry.
for the I stand corrected. Okay.
I'm sorry to air the dirty lot room in the show proper. However,
Yeah. Well, that person's words upset so many people, I would say. So
My words upset so many people.
Why is Kim's dropping out a lot today, which is weird because we just got a new rig.
Oh, I thought it was
It's
all
weird.
fixed up.
Yeah, it was so good yesterday.
We'll figure it out.
So we'll figure it out. Yeah,
my computer's just been dropping out today too. So I'm
Thanks,
not sure what what I've been getting from you guys. It's just my computer has been just not nice today. So I'm sorry.
Okay. No sweat. I mean, it's not your fault.
Well,
here it is.
You could apologize.
And I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community.
Yeah. Don't feel sorry for Fresno. They say they're solid Trumpers. No, I know politically it's not. It's not a
joke.
friendly place.
It's a joke.
It was a joke. It was a joke. All right. So let me quickly leave you with something for animal people and for pet people and for cat people. Really. It has to do with a piece in the New York Times. So this is not just some, animal rag or cat rag Cats have a reputation for being aloof, but there's a new study that's found that their relationship with, and I'm going to use this term throughout this piece, I'm uncomfortable with it because I feel as though these animals are not owned, okay? But I have to call them their owners is the way we're going to call it. But even though I just don't feel like that's their guardians is what I would say or whatever. But anyway, people are used to their owners, and I understand that that's just the vernacular. So vernacular is a ding word, I guess. A new study has found that the relationship with their owners may be stronger than we thought. And so there's a lot here, and I'm not going to read the whole article to you, but every cat owner tries to call the cat, and you always wonder, does the cat really understand me? This study actually suggests that when, and this is a quote, when cats heard their owners using a high-pitched voice, they reacted more than when they heard their owner speaking normally to another human adult. But what was very surprising in their results, she says, was that it actually didn't work when it came from a stranger's voice. In other words, that cat has bonded to you. The cat guardian, owner, again, I'll use the... Unlike with dogs, cat behavior is difficult to study, which is part of why humans understand them less, they say. Cats are, of course, stressed by being in a lab, so meaningful behavioral observations become impossible, and you can't get them into an MRI scan, right? So here's what researchers did, and this is why I like this piece. They went to the cats' homes, and they played recordings of different types of speech and different speakers. And the team was worried that the cats weren't reacting at all, but then they studied film recordings of the encounters so that they look at video in effect, and the reactions were very subtle. So it could just be, they say, moving an ear or turning the head toward the speaker or even freezing what they were doing to listen. In a few cases, the cats in the study would approach the speaker. The person is speaking. It's not like a speaker. You understand? Not an electronic speaker. In the end, we had really clear gains in the cat's attention when the owner was using cat-directed speech. Cats are paying close attention to their caretakers, down to not only what they're saying, but how they are saying it. So there's an ongoing research, and it's going on at Unity College in Maine, and it's also going overseas in Paris. I'll post this on my Twitter feed as @MarkTLive if you want to see more. But your cat
Mark Reed
might
makes
not...
a very good point. Cats don't have owners. Cats have staff.
That is true. What's Ricky Gervais's line? I love Ricky Gervais is a great cat lover, an animal lover for that matter. And he's vegan for ethical reasons, you know. And he says that his friend was seeing how he was indulging the cat with food or treats or whatever and said, wow, you're really spoiling that cat. And Ricky turned to him and said, yeah, because it's a cat. I mean, what's the fear about indulging them, you know? They're not going to grow up to be spoiled brats. They're cats. Why not give them what they want? Make them happy. So,
well, and I think it's highly situational. And it depends on the cat and the breed. Like Archie is part Maine Coon, so he's very dog-like. And it depends on his mood. So if he hasn't seen me in a while and I call his name out, he'll turn his head and trill, which Maine Coons will do. But if I've been talking to him for a while, he just tunes out and walks away.
Oh. Well, Archie does have a personality, and John got Archie from the rescue, from a shelter, and it takes a while to settle out. You guys have clearly got each other's rhythm by now, you know?
Yeah, but he's definitely not like any other cat I've had before. He's more dog-like. He wants to run around. He wants to play.
I have older cats, and then I have one friskier cat, but... John Smith asks, Mark, did you talk about that book behind you, Death of Sex World? Yeah, does it look like that? Death of Sex World? It's not Death of Sex World. It's Death at SeaWorld. Okay.
Oh, that's not nearly as interesting.
Yeah. It's a great book, and you should get it. I really recommend it. But it's not
Especially
Death
with the
at Sex
picture of the orca on the front, that would have been really weird.
Yeah, David Kirby, this guy is a great author, great journalist, and it's terrific. And it was the precursor, I think, to that SeaWorld documentary. What was the documentary?
Blackfish.
Blackfish,
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
My best friend is the cousin of the woman who was pulled under by an orca.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
did you ever see Blackfish, the movie?
I did. As a matter of fact, I'm looked at as a little bit odd by, I think, the moms in my crowd because my kids have never been to, what's it called? Six Flags Marine World. It's in Vallejo. You're here in Northern California.
Right.
And they haven't been because I refuse to reward a company that treats animals that way. So
wow, look at you. I love
we
that.
don't do that. We don't go there. We won't go to SeaWorld. We don't go to those places. And I had a friend say, well, hey, if they don't have those animals in captivity, like the orcas and the dolphins and whatnot, then how do we learn about them? Isn't that a learning experience for people?
It's called television.
It's called
Internet.
get on a boat and go whale watching. You don't.
And if you
put 'em
can't
in
get on a
tank.
boat, there are more ways to find out about these things. And that is not, you're not learning anything at SeaWorld. You're not learning anything watching confined
That's
animals.
like saying, how do you learn about Antarctica?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
You
the
don't
other
have
thing
to
I would
go
just
there
say,
to learn about
but
it.
leave that aside. Even if it's not an animal in its natural environment, it's swimming around doing tricks. What are you learning? I mean, it's offensive, the notion that that's a teaching environment in any way.
No, it's the novelty of it. It's the novelty of seeing it in person that people want.
It's people making creatures that can't speak in the language that we can understand perform for dead fish. It's disgusting. But what happened at SeaWorld, interesting, and that Death at SeaWorld is a great book. So, No, I wanted the
Mark Thompson Show.
Thank you. I just wanted a short little. Okay, we've got a.
Sorry, we really.
That was your death at
tangent there.
SeaWorld music.
Music. I just wanted a quick sting.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Thank you. That's what I wanted. The Mickey and Maduro show starting at noon. Old Sniffer's announcement. That's a reference to Trump, of course. And McCarthy doesn't have the votes to be the next speaker. Uh-oh. A call to break up Ticketmaster resources after the T-Swift fiasco. Plus, we'll ask, what were they thinking?
Why are you yelling?
I love it. I love it. Mickey Maduro show. I watch it every day. I watch some little bit of it, always. And sometimes I watch the whole thing wall to wall. I like it. Sometimes I watch some of it live, and then sometimes I watch some of it a little later in the evening. And I sometimes rewatch this show, too. So thanks to everybody who's supported us. It's really cool that you have stepped up. Do I have anything more to do? Any other acknowledgments, Sean? I ask you before we...
No, I think you're good to go.
All right.
I think we're all good to go.
All right. So, John, I want to thank you for your hard work today, and that will continue into the afternoon
Fabulous
as John
producer,
produces
John Daly.
the clips that then show up on our YouTube channel. Kim, thank you.
Kim, how are you?
I know you have to head over to Nikki's show. And Tony, always.
Thanks, Tony.
Love you, and this is going to be a busy week because we've got to rebuild a studio. So
I know.
You're the best.
Thanks, Tony.
Week.
Yeah, you have a busy week. So much to do. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody for joining our community. Please subscribe, share. I mean, we have to
Mark
grow.
Thompson Show.
Yes, we have to grow this community. So grow.
This is Mark Thompson.
I'm Sean Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
I love the gospel.
You can
know
buy
that.
a Movado watch in Sam.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Smashed it with your iron rod.
I feel like we're light on that today.
Oh my god. Are you kidding me? Absolutely smashed.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
Right on.
Word from the Lord.
My words upset so many people.
Y'all can all go to hell and I'm going back to Texas.
Going back to Texas, baby. Yeah.
I have never heard of something like that.
There is nothing in our history that quite compares to this.
We've never seen anything like it before.
Bye-bye.